Ola Olukoyede has declared that the agency will intensify its fight against corruption, vowing that no individual or group will be spared in the process. Now, he made this declaration on Monday in Abuja while receiving a solidarity visit from the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. Now, he emphasized that the fight against corruption is a collective responsibility, and he has urged Nigerian students to join hands with the EFCC to eradicate the menace. In his words, and I quote, "What we are simply saying is that when you finish, that's when you're in office and you're done. Come, we want you to explain how you spent our common wealth while you were in office." There's no sacred cows, in his words. The EFCC chairman also commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for introducing the student loan scheme, which he believes will help students secure a better future. Let's start with the statement on corruption before we go down to the student loan. Looking at the activities of the EFCC, especially lately, they've been in the news over and over again, lately especially. How much would you say the EFCC is doing in really fighting corruption like the chairman has stated?
I've told you earlier from my first statement, and I will equally reiterate, to a large extent, the institutions we have today are almost all a charade. They are almost,
the EFCC.
Of course, the FCC is not an exemption. They are almost all a charade. And why do I say that? I say that because we're talking about a country where this is an institution that has had series of chairmen. In 2003, what the FCC chairman then, it's on 7 or so, 6, the FCC chairman then said he was looking for about 5 most corrupt persons in government. And today, one of them is our president. Some of them are in the Senate. They're senators today. How did those corruption charges and corruption fight go? They all ran down the drain like nothing happened.
Why does that really happen?
It happens because the institutions are intertwined, and the people that run them have made up their minds in a corrupt manner to see to it that the systems fail. They are programmed for one way or the other to fail. Listen, it's justice or whatever you call sincere processes are only meted out on the common citizens. And that is the reason why you see so many people are so ferociously fighting to be in amongst the elites, to be in the structure, the political arrangement of our country. Why? Because it gets to a point and you're like an untouchable. We have been able to build strong men and weaker institutions over the years. Whether we accept it or we do not accept it, this is the reality. I would want to stay on the topic, on the issue, talking about the FCC and corruption and its fight against corruption. Ask yourself, we had we've heard of corruption charges levied up almost on all. Listen, we have 36 states now. We have our democracy had transited. Let me say, okay, 3 administrations running to the 4th. Permit me, if everybody has done their 8 years. Now you ask yourself, 8 times 36, because whether we like it or not, that 36 states all have governors. Now, what have the EFCC done, and which particular case has the EFCC brought to a logical conclusion on corruption charges that the people can now say, are you and I, like myself, I'm an activist, I'm a public analyst. Now in my capacity, what are those cases that the FCC, listen, over 6,014 cases from 1999 up until now. Only 2 or 3 have we said were brought to a logical conclusion. Some were brought to a logical conclusion on the basis of the president's intervention to say this. Okay,
and whose statistics are you making reference to, Chuba?
You see, the obvious.
Did you sit down and put all of those numbers together?
I am only referencing what the EFCC has given us as information. The same EFCC, you know, I would not just come.
Well, you're talking about EFCC from a very long time.
Okay.
We're looking at this present chairman now.
Now with this present chairman,
how much he has done in the fight against corruption.
In the fight against corruption, I will not ask you questions. I'm asking my audience because I'm not permitted to ask you questions. Now, ask yourself, which high-profile corruption charge have the EFCC under this administration a year plus that has inflicted on Nigerians a year plus blow that is more like 200 years blow, because for the first time in our history we are buying fuel at over 900, 714, 720 at fair price. We are now buying 4 seeds of tomato at 2,000 naira. We are buying 4 4 pieces of snails at almost 5,000. Now this is the real Nigerian. A bucket of gari, we don't want to go there. To a fresh pepper, we don't want to go there. Now, for this length of time, this period of time that they have inflicted so much pain on the Nigerian people, which high-profile case will you say the EFCC had started and had brought to a logical conclusion that is of the benefit of the Nigerian people? Now let me bring to you the consciousness of the Yaya Bello incidents. A lot of people have said Yaya Bello is being haunted, whether we like it or yes, whether it is true or not. It's not important. What you should be talking about is, was he right or wrong? Or the cases or the charges leveled against him, are they valid? Now, to that end, how far has the FCC gone? So, when we look at Nigeria as a case study and we're looking at corruption, and listen, I tell people, posterity will be all our judges. No matter how highly placed you are, there is a time to be born and a time to die. And when you leave, whether we all get to that other side of life and realize nothing's happening there, is a dark world and we are all done, fine and good. If we get there and realize that something's happening there, what becomes the legacy behind? Many people are arrogating to themselves powers that they don't have. They are not God. Whether we accept it or we do not accept it, these institutions in our country today,
this current administration in the EFCC has not done so much in the fight against corruption, and it's just a statement on paper.
I will reiterate and very clearly, because I know the camera I'm right in front of the camera. For the records, it is my opinion.
Yes,
they have done little or nothing.
Let's look at the student loan now. They are just
trying, they're just, like you said, it's everything they have done so far is seemingly just on paper.
Okay, let's look at the student loan now. I'd like to get your opinion on this particular topic, because Nigerians have been divided, some people in support and some other people not in support. Can we go back to that story now, the student loan? Some other people not in support. Now, the EFCC chairman, according to this particular story, has commended the president on the student loan. And when the student loan scheme was announced, we had various reasons given. There are so many students who probably cannot handle their fees. And then let's not also forget the fact, I don't know why some people don't like to mention that aspect of this student loan now. The part where it was stated that they can also get loans for business, all right? Do you also see this as something that is commendable? Or are you amongst the Nigerians who feel like this is another scheme to hold out the students?
Permit me to say that I'm not excited.
Why?
For obvious reasons. I have a lot of students. I run an organization that is almost student-driven. I have a lot of students who have paid their acceptance fees, who have received results from their schools and faculties, who cannot, in good conscience, say that the process of acquiring the student loan is fair.
Have they gotten the student loan? Have they tried to apply?
I'm making my statement very clear. People who have said they have tried to apply, firstly, cannot access it. Secondly, to what end are we pursuing a student loan right now? I believe that whether we like it or we do not like it, there were times in this country where people from outside Nigeria came to the Nigerian universities to study because of its pedigree. Today, we have engineers. Listen, a lathe machine is the most versatile of all engineering tools, of all engineering machines. But we have mechanical engineers who do not even know what a lathe machine is. We have electrical engineers who cannot fix a bulb. Now you ask yourself very vital questions. It's not about the proliferation of institutions. Neither is it about just coming out on paper. Like I said, Nigeria is being run on paper and words. The actions speak louder than words. What we are seeing on ground is almost a failed system.
Okay,
and until somebody takes responsibility of doing the needful,
all right,
Trust me. And which is the leaders?
Chuba, let's go back to the fact that you stated that some of the students that you have spoken to could not access the loan. Because that's a very strong statement. Because what we have been told is that the loans are very accessible. And we're giving the numbers of students who have been able to access it, that have been able to apply. And we're giving a date to when they will start getting the monies. So for the students who you said you spoke to that were not able to access the loans or the application of the loan, are there reasons they stated that they could not? Was it that they were not qualified, or are there documents they could not provide, or what exactly was the problem?
It is very easy for someone to say, from the government side, to say, the young man over there is only trying to make his agency popular and let them want to get him co-opted into the system. It's not important. I keep telling people, no day with this God I serve will make me go and stand in front of the government to say, do this. What will happen will happen. The truth remains what it is. Whether we like it or yes, we have seen loans and grants being given out in this country. And most of the time, it is almost always on paper. We talked about the school feeding process. We fed Nigerians when Nigeria was on COVID. We fed children when we were on COVID. I'm trying to marry all the issues together and put it to you for the people to be their judges. We fed people, spent humongous amount of money when Nigerians were on COVID. People were, they say lockdown. People were still feeding people in billions. Palliatives that were released, people use them as a birthday gift. And you talk about an EFCC that is fighting corruption, a system that wants to work. A man that has failed 12 times, clearly failing with a pattern. The 13th time, listen, the 13th time will only happen to be a miracle if it doesn't fail. Because the obvious remains that you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Now ask yourself, which government are we talking about? That is talking about a student loan and its implementation. Is it this government that we are seeing? Is the
issue with the government, or the issue is with the process?
Listen, the government are the ones that map out the process for anything to function. Now, we talked about EFCC and its functionalities and how far they are fed. How far is the Better Edu issue? The Better Edu issue, that embarrassing issue that ran through the Nigerian state, how far is with it? Now we're talking about the Abelo issue, how far with it? And you want me to say that they are doing well because I'm on TV. I want to be pleased.
Nobody is saying that you should say they are doing well.
Okay.
We just want to know, for the people who could not access the loan, do you have that information? If you don't, I would like to know what exactly you have, or what exactly you think is a problem with the idea of the student loan to even start with.
First and foremost, I want to believe that the student loan, it's not a bad idea in a sane climate. But we have seen a system where, I am quoting myself, where the high and mighty just work out processes that at the end of it, they themselves grab the same system to themselves, hold the system in the jugular, and the system can't breathe.
So that means we're trying to be biased with this whole judgment with the student loan, because we're trying to look at previous, or the previous times these things have happened, and we're not really looking at the processes that have been put in place, and if it's really working. We're just judging with the times, in the past when this happened, something similar happened, how did we handle it? Doesn't that look like what is going on right now?
You can say that and you will not be completely wrong, and neither will the people be entirely blamed, but to a large extent, if that's really the picture, the people should be blamed because this is another administration. We need to believe it and work with it. That would have been the expectation. Now, like you rightly asked, the students who have tried to assess the student loan, what have been the problem? If you now ask me, and I'm not a student, I would love you. This is your program. This is your program. I would, if I had known that this question would be very straight and direct, possibly would have loved a situation where we would have brought students. who will come out and show you their systems, possibly laptops, possibly phones, and show you how far they've gone. Because I would never left school 20-something years back, so I will not come and be talking about the student loan. Even if I'm doing any kind of masters, I will not take up the Nigerian government and Nigerian state the way it is today. I will do my best to disassociate and distance myself. So what I'm trying to tell you is we have a system that is failing.
We do not trust.
And it is failing because
no matter the new processes that are introduced, we still do not trust it as a people.
Yeah, sure.
All right.